I got some. Oh, oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. I've definitely got something. And I don't know if you guys can see from there. Basically, this is the first capture of the season. And the very first caption. What do you think it is? I hope you guys can see. Did you guys guess what my first capture after? This is the only trap I got out, but it's already, the trap I think just paid for itself, or my license just paid for itself. Okay, you have a guess. Pause the video, see if you can think of what my first animal capture is going to be. Everything looks good. Okay, and revealing, we're going to see in 3, 2, 1. It's an otter. Oh, it's not a bad one either. Not a bad one. Not quite a double capture, but definitely a very good capture. My first otter. This is why you put the jaws under the water and stuff like that. And maybe you can put a stick across. The idea is to get them to dive into it so you get this kind of a capture. Don't set on the dam. I know people have been doing it for years. Don't do that anymore. You don't need to do that. You want to get a good capture like this. This was a really good capture. Whatever. His angle probably could have been a bit better. You can see where, you know, he's a little off to the side. But you can see the strength of these traps right there. That's what I'm talking about. This is why, I mean, those jaws are almost fully closed, and I mean, that's a pretty tough animal. Once you realize how tough that animal is, you realize how powerful these traps are. So anyway, I'm going to get him out there. Alright, g'day, hi and welcome. Okay, so here's my first otter. Yes, the stinkiness is starting. I gotta get this thing outside. As soon as you start handling it, the rigor mortis is starting to really set in there. So let's start with the tail here. Looks like a little female. Looks in good shape. Look at the teeth here. I know the lighting's not the best. Teeth aren't all ground down. Jaw's kind of stuck there, but it looks like the gums look good. No. Easy. Okay, that will. Oh, see, I'm going too far there. A little bit of bone there. Oh, look at that. Just to fight me. Just to fight me. Well, that's okay. I'll get that. You kind of fight where you have to be really careful when you start getting around the stomach and stuff like that. It doesn't. If you cut into the stomach at all, like, and it's so delicate around that area, that it can be quite a disaster. But the idea is, especially if you cut the gland or whatever, which is basically it's a musky kind of smell, kind of sort of skunky kind of, not as bad as a skunk, but it's bad. It's bad. These guys are stinky. But the thing is that what you can do is just you know, kind of work your way around them. Right now is when you get to the point where you start doing some of the pulling and stuff like that. Might need a little bit more. That's what I'll blog while I'm doing this, even though this does require your attention. If your knife starts getting dull, give it a quick sharpen. Sometimes a slightly duller knife is better than a super razor sharp, because then you don't have to worry about going through the pelt as much. But just start gently. You can see the nice thing about the sharp knife is that I don't have to go hard at it at all. Right now I think I'm on his belly. Yeah, I'm on his belly side. Alright, g'day, hi and welcome. Okay. Yeah, I got a trap line mystery. I hope I didn't just lose a trap. But there's a tree out in the middle there. That was never there before. Checking my traps. Got a beaver somehow a beaver got that tree out there. It was -17 last night, so like, how the heck did he get that tree out there? That is bizarre. That's completely. You can see his trail there. So he must have had a little hole and try to bring the tree down the hole, and then it froze on him. All right. So these pesky beavers have left me no choice but to fight dirty. And just so you know, knife of the day, my saw Creed. And I got my secret weapon here. This is beaver sticks. Sometimes when you just gotta, so what you gotta do is just give it a little bit in here. As you can see, there's that wacky tree that beaver brought there yesterday. That was the day when it was nice and sunny. But I brought Smasher the axe here today. My pet splitting bow axe to get through this 1-inch thick ice. So unfortunately, the first trap was skunked. Unfortunately. So So this is technically, I guess, going on to my second week with the traps out, and I've only caught one otter so far. So the first trap was skunked. Well, what about the second one? Caught snow. I caught snow. Oh, there's something there. There's something there. What is it? What is it? It is. Doing this, don't want to lose my gloves, don't want to lose my... it's going to be a pain in the butt to get out of here, but I have caught, if you can't tell, otter number 2, and I think this is a bigger one. There's otter number 2, so I'm going to go get my other gloves. All right, good day, hi, and welcome. Okay, warning graphic. I'm going to show you my second otter. Absolutely perfect capture. I hope something wasn't chewing on him. Maybe it's just because his pelt was wet, but maybe he was fighting too. I got to look there and there. Now I'm gonna, this is a good size one. Remember, the ice isn't fully thick yet. All right. I got it home. That otter was a lot. I had a wheelbarrow him home in about 4 inches or 5 inches of snow. I couldn't find my trapping sleigh. And that was a lot of work. That's the most work I think I've ever done to bring an otter home. I gotta get my... All right, so anyway, first thing is we want to be gentle. So again, the reason why I wait along, the reason why I bring the trap home is basically to, that's one, is so that, again, if the fur is frozen to the trap jaw, it doesn't wreck the trap. Or won't wreck the trap, sorry, wreck the fur. Okay, so second one, bring out, get our safety. Sometimes you have to move your safeties down so that when you go to redo the safety, it doesn't snag something you don't want it to snag and jam things up. Again, always use the tongs, one against your leg. So if there's whatever energy's in the spring, if it slips, and sometimes they do, if it slips, it'll spring away from you rather than into your leg and whatever. So yeah, there we go. That's my second otter. I'm gonna get him outside, get him all cleaned up, all that stuff. Yeah, so there's two. Hour or two since I've let him thaw out. So there's, we'll have another look at how powerful these traps are. You can see how squished he is and how well, you can see that fairly well, hopefully. He's still kind of wet. He's a little bit bigger than the other one. So again, the reason why I wait along, the reason why I bring the trap home is basically to, that's one, is so that, again, if the fur is frozen to the trap jaw, it doesn't wreck the trap, or won't wreck the trap, sorry, wreck the fur. Okay, so second one, bring out, get our safety. Sometimes you have to move your safeties down so that when you go to redo the safety, it doesn't snag something you don't want it to snag and jam things up. Again, always use the tongs, one against your leg. So if there's whatever energy's in the spring, if it slips, and sometimes they do, if it slips, it'll spring away from you rather than into your leg and whatever. There we go. So we got that. Now, what we do is we can use something like that. And we lift up nice and gentle, grab him by the tail. The idea is not to put our hands ever in the jaws, even out of habit. Whatever. Oh, he's heavy. He's heavy. He or she, is this a he or she? I think this is I think it looks like a he. I like that he's a little bit bigger, so maybe it'll fetch a little bit more, and I like that it's a little bit later. So, but he looks good. He doesn't look like he's all bit up and everything like that, so that means there's not doesn't seem like there's no overpopulation in the area. Usually when they're bit up, it means they're fighting with other otters and other animals. So it does mean they're not an overabundance, and you can't trap out otters anyway, because they don't stay put. This guy, he could travel 10 miles in a day just for fun. You don't brush the knives. You get away from my otter. Okay, you big fat stinky face away from my big fat stinky otter. What? He's trying to grab onto the bag. How did he do that? So here's my otter. looking pretty good. And I'll do the initial cuts like I do. And get your big fat stinky face away from there. And he's kind of a little stiff, but he's not frozen, so that's good. Gotta move some stuff here, gotta watch stuff doesn't come out, but it is a he. I can, yeah, so I felt there. That it? That should be a he. Yeah, should be a he, so you can see him there. Oh, there's a little bit of ice on there, but he's not bad. We're just gonna kind of get him worked out a bit. You want to make sure nothing is froze on there. The elements. And so I got all my knives here, and we're gonna get this table ready for my otter. All right, so hopefully the camera angle is going down. I got the GoPro angled like this, so it might look a little odd, but that's what I got going on. So I'm gonna start with my good knife. No, I'm gonna start with this. I've done this before, I'm sure. And anyway, I just want to be very careful where I'm going to go, but go around. It's about 10 after 11. My goal is to finish him within 2 hours if I can. Nice thing about these steel knives is they usually sharpen up really quick. Now this guy hopefully is sharp enough. So what I want to do now is I'm going to split down the tail, but first I got to go from this leg around the anus, this leg around the anus, and you just maybe get them in. What you're trying to do is get them as centered as possible. So watch you don't stab yourself in the process of this, and watch what you stab into, because there's glands and stuff like that. So, oh, that went good. And just go easy so you don't overcut anything. You can kind of pinch back again a little bit. Just be careful, because there's a gland right there, and you don't want that stuff out that early. You don't want to cut into it that early. You know, wait a little bit before you start making mistakes and stuff. So we're gonna. All right, so I'm in there. And then what I do is just start to nip, and try not to slip like that. Very hard when he's been dead for a few hours. Try to go down the very center of the tail the best you can. Much easier when you have a tail splitter. So just go nice and slow. Nip it. Don't push too much, because if it comes off the tail, it'll just zip. You got to put a little bit of forward pressure, but very, very little, to stay straight if you're doing it like this. This is the hard way to do it. If you have a tail stripper or a splitter, which is just a little track that this can follow in, life is much easier for you. You see, like, it kind of does that, like it goes, and then make sure your tail's straight, so that you're always going straight down the tail, and open it up right to the very extreme end. So being left-handed, right-handed will have its advantages, obviously. Watch your fingers. But the idea is to open up the tail so you can get the tail stripper in there. And yeah, so you just work down. You don't have to go down too far at a time. Just work your way, but always work into the tail and stuff like that. So once you get them opened up a bit, then you can hang them. So like I say, you're always working in. When you get around other areas, it gets a little trickier. But the goal here is to get around the tail as much as possible. You can take one side, work around it. You can try to work around it from both sides. Idea, don't cut into the tail. As I got it kind of, and I'm just going nice and gentle into the tail all the time, into the cartilage. Once I get down to about here or so, now I'm starting to get into an area where I can start to work other things. So I'm not ever cutting into the pelt. That's the goal. But what I can do, this is why you open up your, you have two notches on the tail, or on the tail splitter, sorry. And you can see this is where it's big. And once you get down to the point where it gets loose, then you go down to the smaller one. So I'll start here, and I'll just start pulling, gentle but firm. Sometimes it might require a little bit more. You're not trying to pull the tail apart. Yeah, when it's that hard, yeah, you got to fight with them a little bit more. All right, so there's a certain kind of light that shines out on me. Yeah, all right, anyway, so we're gonna grab Grandpappy's sharpening. So I got to remember I got the angle a little bit. Maybe I can Angle this up just a little bit more. That should be just about right. I got my goop and slop pail, and if it looks like there's something else in there other than the goop and the slop, you'd be correct. Because if you've been watching my channel any length of time, you probably noticed that I took a shot at a wild chicken that had a bulletproof vest on it. And I think that wild chicken, that Matrix wild chicken with the bulletproof vest, flew all the way from back from where I shot it to over here, and my dog ended up with it. I took it from when I threw it in there. It was all kind of half eaten, and it was still pellets. So if that was the one I shot at, but anyway, okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to see if we can make some gains on this. Again, we're still working into the tail. Good lighting helps. You know, it is one of those slow jobs if you want to do it right and do it well. You know, like, this is not a job for people with no patience, that's for sure. I'll just tell you that right now. But maybe what I'm going to do is I'm going to start up here. Be sure you don't cut your rope. Rope sucks. If you can get those little chains, that's the way to go, like little dog collar chains. I just don't have any on hand. The next outing I go, well, I don't have any cash to really spare, so I'm kind of making a list of, you know, the necessities of what I'm going to need. Now, stop following me. I'm trying to get around. Stop turning. But the gamble, what they call a gamble, there's a deer gamble over there. Hasn't been used, unfortunately, in a couple of years. There's no deer left around here hardly at all because of the wolves. But that deer gamble is going to turn into a wolf-coyote gamble. But you can see, you just tie around a leg, and if you can tie both legs, tie one. If you have a hard time with the other leg, then tie up the other leg, because it keeps the tension where you want. You're not fighting with it as much. But now the idea here is kind of open them up to the back side and into the front to get this is what you would call a cased pelt. So what you want to do is hopefully the camera's still there. Hopefully I got a good angle here for you. But what the cased pelt is, you open it up, as we've seen the earlier cuts and stuff like that. And I will put this into a short and condensed video just for some of you that, you know, but I will also give you these play-by-plays too, because I think it's a very good idea to just show you exactly what's involved with it. But I've been at this already about 45 minutes. Again, if I would have done them yesterday, I'd probably have gotten a little bit further, but this is a slow job, especially the first few of them that you do. The more you do, the quicker it gets, and you know, you start to know where things are on their so you're not getting all confused where to cut and where not to cut. So this one's going good so far. So he's not too bad, and you get don't pull too hard on that. You can get these machines that help to skin them a bit, to pull them down. I don't know. I've got mixed emotions. If you've used them, let us know what you think of them. So here's where you're going to get your problem right here, is where does the pelt begin and the cartilage end, and vice versa. So there's also, like I say, there's other stinky things in there you have to be very careful of. But I don't know. I just, on these delicate pelts, I'm kind of a little bit leery about doing any sort of pulling on them, you know, of that kind of significant pull. You pull a little bit, but, you know, the idea is to kind of let things kind of come down naturally. It's a little slower, but to me it's a little safer. And again, don't worry about leaving fat and cartilage. Like, you're not trying to skin the animal while you're like, you're not trying to flesh the animal while you're skinning it. You're just skinning it. Now, the other thing to do is get this tail completely opened here. Okay, this is where, yeah, it probably would be good to, you know, hang the other leg so you can get a bit of an, you know, where you're at. Again, fight with it. You're going to get smacked in the tail. You better not be squeamish when you're doing this, because you are going to get smacked by things you don't like. But anyway, I'm going to work around that. As I get a little bit further, I'll show you. Again, I can't do the full play-by-play. I've only got 45 minutes of battery, and I don't know what I'm at there now. Probably over the half-hour mark just in recording. So I want to get, you know, just show you in the stages so you see what you're up against. I'm going to grab my grease rag. This little table, we built it for to do other work on it, but it seems to be a good table to work off of. Anyway, yeah, so I'll show you in the next stage. Again, and it's hard to get a good pull on them too because they're all greasy and tail's all greasy, and you can see like I can't even. A little more. Got him. We can use something like that. And we lift up nice and gentle. Grab him by the tail. The idea is not to put our hands ever in the jaws, even out of habit. Whatever. Oh, he's heavy. That he's, you know, a little bit bigger, so maybe it'll fetch a little bit more. And I like that it's a little bit later. So, but he looks good. He doesn't look like he's all bit up and everything like that. So that means he's. There's not an doesn't seem like there's no overpopulation in the area. Usually when they're bit up, it means they're fighting with other otters and other animals. All right, good day and welcome. Okay, it looks nice out there. It looks very, very nice out there. It's not very nice out there. Already been out once today, but at least the sun's out anyway. So, brought all my traps back home and stuff. Still got to use this secret weapon, and I will use this secret weapon, and this secret weapon will be so secret, and I'll tell you all about it later on. Okay, okay, so what I got to do now is, before I get out there, where's my trigger safety? Trigger safety! Where are you, trigger safety? Where the hell's my trigger safety? Did I bring it back? Oh, I lost that already. Oh, that sucks. Not a good start to the day. Where would I have set that? Definitely would have left it back there. Hopefully nobody stole that on me. Okay, so before I head out, this is the reigning champion so far this year. Mind you, only got 2 traps out, but we're gonna get our safeties in the safe spot. Get our triggers. This trigger got bounced around a little bit. Okay, I could always just wait till I get its kind of tension off it. So anyway, here's a nice clear view of how to set the trap once again. If you're in a conibear, keep handing that against your leg in case it springs. Then it just springs away from you. Okay, grab it. If you're wondering what this ring is for, it's just like a locking ring. Sometimes it'll under enough pressure. Sometimes it holds. Sometimes it doesn't. It just, if it does spring, kind of slows it. Kind of jams it a bit sometimes. Well, maybe. Now that I'm trying to show you, it doesn't work. But get the safeties on there. Now, if I had the other safety, I would, I'll bring these anyway, because you never know if you're going to need them. Okay, so you can see my trigger took a little bit of a beating on that otter. I'm just going to put him back where he belongs. I'll carry it like that. I won't set it until I get there, just for safety's sake, because especially without that should have been in here. That and a pair of pliers. Don't tell me somebody stole that on me. But anyway, I don't want to use up all my battery in here. Sorry about what happened with my otter yesterday. It got cold enough that I think the camera stopped working, and I wasn't able to finish the job of the skinning. So what I'm going to do with this is basically I'm going to go set it in. I think the days of me carrying the GoPro the whole way back on my head is done, because like it's minus 412, minus 14 right now. So usually once you get below minus 10, electronic equipment usually starts to say, hey, screw this, buddy, I'm out of here. And it doesn't work, and then you gotta whatever. So what I'll do is I'll just film it in small stages, so maybe you might not get the overhead cam quite as easy, and I'll just, you know, because I want to get the footage for you. So we'll see how it works. We'll see how it works. But I'm gonna get that trap back up and running. And yeah, there we go. And then I gotta finish fleshing my otter. Got to trace out another trapping board because I'm running low on otter boards. So I'm gonna do that, and then yeah, hopefully get him all done tonight. Here, I got the safety set. Okay, safety's set. Now, while you're carrying them, just be careful with it. The trigger is the dog isn't set here, and here's my trigger, and I had to bend it again because when I set it, I watch you don't bend your triggers while you set them. This is how the safety looks on these. Don't rely on safeties ever. Don't rely on safeties ever. Something I was talking about in a previous video when I was out on the dam that I could show you now before I get going. Again, I don't want to use up all my battery. But when you set off the safeties, okay, make sure they're like here. If you want to move, because you can't really move them down a lot of times, but make sure that they're out of the way of the jaws. So when it springs, it doesn't under the quick springing. It will sometimes, like if you just go like that. Sometimes when it springs, it'll catch, and it'll actually catch the spring. It will happen that fast. Okay, something was brave last night. Run across there. I can't quite tell what it is though. I don't think it's a deer track, but it might be. Well, you can see it went all the way over there, and it looked like there was like some splish and a splash, and I don't know if it's beavers or whatever running under the ice, or not running, but swimming under the ice. I heard one crashing over there, and I heard something under here, so it could be an otter, could be a beaver, could be whatever. So I'm going to check this trap here. I can check that trap over there, but you can see over there it's still open, so... Oh, there he goes again. Hear that ice cracking and crashing and banging. Alright, some chickadees yelling at me. Okay, so now for the death-defying act of offsetting the triggers or the safeties. Hopefully tomorrow I'll have a beaver in them. It's not like they're gonna go too many other spots. Where's that safety? I gotta see that. Make sure that's not sitting on the... Good, no, that's right where I want it. And then get those safeties as far out as you can, because if you don't, what happens is they can catch the jaws and or catch the either the jaws or the actual springs. So that's set, ready to go. Got my beaver stick right there. There's no way for him to come in there. Got a nice spot there for him to go through, and got nothing impeding the springs or whatever. So there's only one way he can go here. So and we got a nice fresh beaver stick here to fight dirty. I'm a good 2.5 inches below the ice, so I'm not worried about that. Now the final thing, the thing you always do last is tie in, because if this thing sets off on you, you got to walk home with a trap on your hand. If it's tied in, that's where you're going to die. You do just kind of chop it out nice and easy, like so. Okay. Like, what was that? Survey says I can't see nothing. Survey says my trap is still set. I'll clear this up a little bit more. Sometimes if it stays open long enough, gotta make sure my... Oh yeah, okay, I'm good. Alright, warning graphic. I got an otter pelt in my hand. So, probably, I don't know if you had enough time to click away if you're going to click away. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my otter pelt a little bit. So trying to find the cleanest snow around here to just kind of wipe them on. Dad and I are going to be tackling the wood pile tomorrow. Look like that. Look like that. The idea is just to kind of, not make them soaked, but keep them a little bit damp. Alright, so here we go. I'm going to turn them inside out. And he's still a little bit on the cold side. Oh, that's still, oh, look at that. He might still be frozen. Alright, it's getting a little bit late in the day.
I got yesterday's otter, got my gloves, got my sharpening stone, Grandpappy sharpening stone, got my beaver skinning knife, just in case I need it, and I've got my fleshing knife. And we're going to come and say hello to Mr. Otter. I got a second otter. This one's doing okay. It's drying slowly. It's a little bit frozen. So, and see, there's like little meatlets still left over from the last one. You never seem to be able to get them all off there. But I was going to give it a quick, you know, and the idea is it gets it a little bit wet and stuff like that too. And just going to go around it to make sure that there's nothing hard on it. Like, is any little bumps on your fleshing station will result in a cut. And it doesn't take much. It just has to be a little rough spot or a little divot or whatever. That's why you don't use a branch. You need a smooth area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get them set up, and then I'll start fleshing them again. All right, so I'm just in the house here. I'm letting them warm up a bit. And yeah, he's still kind of a little bit frozen, but won't take him long to kind of, I don't want him dripping or anything like that. So the hard part's right down here where it's really meaty. So I'm just going to keep an eye on that. Of course, right where the big hole is. Right here is kind of a bit of a frozen spot of it. You can call it many things. Call it grooves, call it meatlets, call it whatever you want. Let's go with that. There, now that's gonna. There's that one little chunk right there I want to get. All right. Looks like about 7 o'clock at night, but it's actually only 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And boy, that sun fades fast. I'm just a little late in the day, but I had a bunch of stuff to do, so I'm heading out onto the trap line there now. Still got to finish up my otter. I got to get out the sewing needle of shame, because I actually put a hole in my otter, 2 holes to be precise. But I'm going to finish fleshing him tonight, hopefully get that all done. And when I get that all done, I got to make another otter board, or maybe a couple of them. Particularly for the mid-size otters. Usually you always catch the mid-size ones. I'll be happy if I can catch 4 animals a week. That would be ideal. My goal is to get about $100 worth of animals a week. So by the time I get paid, I don't trust you. See, that's still staying kind of open. Survey Seth. What? You're kidding me. How could there be nothing in there? That's not fair. Damn you, beavers. Damn you. Damn you on the dam. Well, we'll open up some. Oh. Operation relocation. Big chunks of ice out here, but this is still flowing good though. Right? Just opening it up for that. You never know, sometimes just wait when you leave, just after you leave. I opened that up pretty good. Get all these ice particles away from my trap. Alright, so unfortunately no beavers. And I didn't bring any traps back. Oh, we've got some cattails here. You need to make a fire. There you go. This is the stuff you use right here. That's your kindling. Carry a piece of that with you. Let it dry out in your pocket. Little stuff like this burns good too. If you were stuck in the bush, you could do it. Then you got all the kindling you ever need right there. As long as you have a pippin foot to get it. Alright, so the light is fading fast, as it normally is. Very warm in here. Very, very freaking warm in here. So hopefully this guy's all thawed out. And I got everything out there ready to go. So, well, ish. It doesn't feel frozen. If it's frozen, I'll have to leave it in a little more. And, yeah. Ooh, green. Oh, green light. Nice. you go. You want to go outside for a little bit? You roasting? Your dad turned up the temperature a little too high, eh? Okay, there we go. There we go. I got mild, so that's good. Poor baby. Dad said she wasn't doing too good last night, so hopefully she's okay. Got my dogs getting old. So anyway, yeah, it's like about 3 o'clock. The darn stupid beavers outsmarted me today. I thought for sure I'd have a beaver. I've yet to catch one. Caught 2 otters, but no beavers. So I'm going to set this right here. Gonna go get the pail of gunk. And once I get that beaver fleshed, I can go get the needle of shame, because I gotta sew him up. I probably won't get that done tonight, but as long as I get him completely fleshed, tomorrow I could sew up and stretch him. That'll be kind of like priority number 1 tomorrow. Then I can start moving on to some of the land traps that I'm gonna set up. Hopefully get quite a few. Okay, time to hold my nose and warning graphic, because there's going to be carcasses in here. There's some otter carcasses, otter gunk, that stuff. Yeah, I'm gonna have to start paling that stuff. Or not paling it, but bagging it so I can take it back there in little chunks. When you get a big pail like that that freezes too much, what you could do is just put it in something that's not going to leak at all. Put it in your house, let it thaw out a bit. Not so much that it smells, but just enough so that you can take it apart and take it back out to the trap line.